If you are a Sony fan, I'm sure you already heard about Sony Ericsson Xperia Play, the first ever dedicated Android gaming phone back from 2011. It has unique slide-out design with physical controls that was clearly inspired by PSP Go. Its fans, us, are waiting for its successor since like forever. Sony seems to not care at all. Only Nvidia took on this challenge with Shield Portable back in 2013. Then basically what all the other companies were doing was that they gave us gaming phone and controller, but separately, and they called it a day. But I mean, compare this and this. This has sleek design that screams, put me into pocket. And this screams, I'm comfortable, but you need a backpack, bro. And that's also what other modern day Android based handhelds are doing right now. Rarely they go smaller, usually they are big and very hardly pocketable. That slide out design was really something else, even though there were some compromises made. There was also a rumor about Xperia Play Successor, but it never materialized. Recently I also seen that the one guy built by himself this controller attachment with dual joysticks that resembles Xperia Play Successor a lot. Even Retro Game Corp covered it in his video. It looks really nice and promising, it is a bit thicker, but it's still in a prototype stage for now. One of the oldest videos on this channel were about Xperia Play, cause I really liked it. I was planning to do a follow-up video for a while, but I'm getting to it just now. And we are looking at what exactly can Xperia Play do in the almost 2025. Is it still worth buying, or should you rather pick any of the other hundreds or even thousands of Chinese handhelds on the market? Let's find out. If we want to do something with it, we need to buy it first. I have it from AliExpress. I paid around $83 US. You can also buy it from other places like eBay or local marketplace, and depending on the country where you live, it might be a bit more or even a bit less expensive. But usually it is a bit more expensive cause prices of these old niche devices are still going up. I still cannot justify paying pretty much the same amount for Nokia N-Gage, and you can have like 10 times more fun with Xperia Play than you can have with Nokia N-Gage. But you are not paying 10 times less money, no. You are not paying for amount of fun, you are paying for privilege, for honor and a privilege to spend time with one-of-a-kind PlayStation phone. So let's see what kind of privilege we're gonna get for $83 US. If you wanna go out straight into gaming, feel free to skip ahead, but we need to first unbox it and set it up. We need to first set it up because of course there are some hurdles, some hoops to jump through. What video would it be without hurdles? This is the box it came in. Sony Ericsson from all sides, nothing else. SonyEricsson.com.cn. Inside the box there is a manual, micro USB charger with a brick, and the phone itself, and a headphones. It's all very nicely packed. Sony branded charger, slow charger. Not that Sony Ericsson would be capable of fast charging. In the manual there is nothing specific to this exact phone, it's like to the phones in general, because I believe they're selling a bunch of other old phones. So it's not really about Xperia Play. And here it is. Let's open it up. Here are serial stickers, because we can stick it on. And here is Xperia Play. It looks quite good, actually, I'm surprised. I believe it is like a refurbished. I see here like a little bit of signs of usage. But other than that, not much. Screen is also very glossy, not much damage. So this, my friends, is the legendary PlayStation phone. It's made by Sony, and they made it like at the end of 2011, before the release of the Vita and after PSP Go. When I compare it to my old Xperia Play, the display is really scratched. Buttons as well. Here there is nothing on them. From the back side, Also, this one is really scratched. This one shiny and glossy. This Sony Ericsson circle wears off as first because it like protrudes. It's not flat. Both sides are okay. Shoulder and volume buttons also not bad. When I open it, I can see the new one is missing this PlayStation certified logo or what it is. Plus these touchpads, as you can see, they are a bit different. Here it feels a little bit as if there is like a screen protector or something. Can't really tell, but I'll leave it in there. And here when I touch it there is like a bit more resistance. Plus there are these circle, half circle cutouts. Whereas here they are missing. The inside looks really good on the new one. The old one doesn't look bad either, but it's a bit dirty. And from the back I can see the new one is missing these screw covers.
This phone is from the times when there were removable back cover and removable batteries. Here is the micro SD and SIM card slot, and this is the Sony Ericsson R800i, aka Xperia Play, and this is I guess the store that's selling it. Let's try to boot it. Sony Ericsson. And here are quick specs overview. Snapdragon S2 single core and 512 megabytes of RAM. 5 megapixel camera, 50 mAh battery and 4-inch screen. 854 by 480.
This phone was all about gaming, but to game on it we need games. And we cannot get them off the Play Store. That means piracy. No, calm down, brother. In my book, piracy only counts when you can get the games officially, but you don't get them officially. You rather bypass the official way with unofficial. But there is no official way in here. Support ended long time ago. There are a few pre-installed games in the phone, but they need to download additional game files. But the servers were shut down already long time ago. So the only way to install the games on this phone is to sideload them. Usually that would involve going into some unsecure shady website and trying your luck in there. Luckily we don't need to do that. There is a great Discord server called Xperia Play. If you already have or you planning to buy Xperia Play, this is a place to be to fulfill all your dreams. They are for a long while now archiving and organizing everything related to Xperia Play. All the games and emulators I have installed are from there, so huge shout out to them for their hard work. Without their effort it would be so much harder to dig through all the incompatible APKs and files. Here everything is compatible, well almost, because for some games and apps you're also gonna need root access, to root your phone. For now I haven't done it, but I think I will later because there are benefits in doing so. That means more Xperia Play videos. But even without the root you can still do a lot, like to play the great old Gameloft games. All you need to do to enjoy them is to install some file manager first, cause there is nothing like that available out of box. I transferred APK via Bluetooth from my smartphone and installed it. Then we also need memory card, cause there is almost nothing available on the phone. I've just inserted my 128 gig one, formatted it and it's working fine, there are no issues. Then we're gonna need compatible APKs and game files. Remember Xperia Play Discord. We put it into correct folder, install APK, boom, job done. We are playing Dead Space Mobile, Nova 2, Spider-Man Total Mayhem, or any of the other countless old-school mobile games that are natively compatible with its physical controls and touchpads. The touchpads are not great, I'm not gonna lie. They are leaving a lot to be desired, even compared to something like PSP Go joystick, cause that design is not much thicker, but it feels great. Imagine having two of those instead of these touchpads. That would be something else, but we don't have it. We have touchpads, which for some games are working better, and for other games they are not working at all. For example, in Dead Space Mobile they feel great. I would be able to beat the full game like that, but for example in Nova 2 I wasn't able to aim the way I would have imagined, so I was rather aiming with the touchscreen and strafing with the D-pad. You can play also many games like this, and it's kinda good middle way of enjoying these games. You know, you're strafing with D-pad and aiming with the touchscreen. It feels way better as if you would only play it on the touchscreen itself. Plus you have obviously the triggers. I was trying also modern combat, but here I was facing some weird aiming issues. I was fiddling with the settings, with sensitivity, with inverted axis. Still I couldn't figure out how the hell am I supposed to play it. Shadowgun was controlling nicely even with touchpads, or even that trigger was kinda okay. So my conclusion was that every game is programmed a bit differently when it's using these touchpads, so it's best to try out the games you want and see what they're gonna feel like. Max Payne Mobile was feeling also kind of okay, and what I was really surprised by was the performance. It wasn't as bad with these first and third person shooters. Often it was pretty enjoyable experience. I was thinking single core 1 GHz CPU with 512 megs of RAM would struggle a bit more, but it was handling it very courageously. Where this phone truly shines, in my opinion, are the games that don't really require touchpads, like racing games. There are plenty of them available: Adrenaline, Crazy Taxi, Riptide, or even fighting games like Total Mayhem or that Bruce Lee game. D-pad and action buttons were crafted with precision. I can feel here a bit of that legendary Sony engineering. PSP and Vita also had great feeling buttons, and this is sending similar vibes. Left and right shoulder buttons might seem small, but they are positioned at a good place and you can easily activate them. Another great feature this phone offers is a retro emulation in your pocket. The size is very small, so it can become great companion. There is a built-in PlayStation 1 emulator called PlayStation Pocket. You can also install RetroArch with bunch of cores. I have mostly installed only standalone emulators. Built-in PS1 emulator is very simple, but it looks professional and it offers nice features like autosave and autoload of the game. You can also choose different screen modes like normal, zoom or stretch to full screen. You can also see original games manual, or you can also assign LNR2 buttons for the touchpads, because many PS1 games require them and you only have LNR1. I like this built-in emulator, and I also like Sony's approach that they have released this emulator officially. I wish I can see more similar things coming out of them. I've seen some people are using EPSX EPS1 emulator instead of this built-in PlayStation Pocket. Not sure how exactly they compare, I haven't installed it. If you know, let us know down below. Next, I have tried DS Emulation and I was quite happy with the experience it offered. It wasn't like 100% speed all the time, there were some frame drops, but games like New Super Mario Bros., Mario Kart DS, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, Super Mario 64, they all were playable. I wish PS Vita DS Emulation has this kind of performance. I'm afraid it's not gonna happen as easily, because even though Vita has quad-core CPU, each core is clocked at lower speed. And main bottleneck is a single-core CPU clock speed, I believe. Overclocked single core on Vita is like 500 MHz and non-overclocked Xperia Play is like 1 GHz. That being said, Jarek, the developer, is still working on optimizing the emulator, and there was even some nice progress shared recently, but we will talk about it more in an upcoming Vita Homebrew news. For now, we are focusing on Xperia Play, because channel members and Patreons have decided so. Big up to them! Next is SNES emulator. This one also performed above my expectations. Yoshi's Island, Star Fox, no issues at all. I will again compare it to Vita, cause I'm a Vita guy, you know, and Vita, for example, cannot run Star Fox at full speed. Xperia Play can, so it is winning the points. or 2 points exactly, because it can run also DS emulation better. What it cannot run better are PSP games, cause it struggles a lot even with easier to emulate ones, like Ghost Rider or Def Jr. Even with auto frame skip turned on, it still cannot hit the full speed. I was able to run some PSP minis at about playable speed, so there might be some titles to enjoy in here, but you have to keep your expectations as low as possible. I was also interested in N64 emulation via Mupen 64, and it was a bit of a mixed bag experience. Ocarina of Time was slower, Mario Kart 64 was playable, same as F-Zero X, 1080 snowboarding was laggy, but N64 Portal was super playable. Too bad we are not gonna get any more updates. Still quite fun even with those few levels available. This phone can also run plenty other emulators at full speed, like Sega Genesis, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, DOSBox, etc. Recently, one developer came up with a way to play PlayStation mobile games on an Xperia Play with no PSMDRM for Android. This was a big achievement, cause previously this wasn't possible. After Sony discontinued the service, the games were just not accessible, but now they are, and very easily. I've just installed the no root PSMDRM APK. It works, but there are some limitations. Another reason to root my Xperia Play. Once the app is installed, we just need to get games. There is another great APK you can use for that, PKGA. I'm sure you know what it can do. It can install PSM packages into your device. Remember the rules, it is not a piracy. You cannot buy them. PlayStation Mobile was a built-in app, therefore it looks also very professional. It has same vibes as PlayStation Pocket with PS1 games. When you get games from PKGA, they are automatically going into your PSM library. I'm familiar with few good PlayStation Mobile games from my Vita. They are like a smaller indie games, I would say on the level of PSP minis, but there are some good ones to find here. Therefore, I would say this app is also certainly must install on every Xperia Play. No, this phone is not a must-buy for 90% of handheld gamers. But if you are one of 10% fanatics that enjoy old-fashioned forgotten devices, there is still plenty fun to have even in here. Main attraction being the cool minimalistic form factor and quality physical buttons. I had a blast using it this past week. Vita has received already some great mobile ports of its library, like Mass Effect Infiltrator, Dead Space Mobile, Modern Combat 3, but plenty are still missing, like Nova 2 or Modern Combat 2, and they might not ever come. So when I'm gonna feel the need, the urge to relive some of them, now I can, in here. And one of my biggest urges is to relive that great exclusive Devil May Cry game released for Xperia Play. But I've heard it's almost impossible, so I'll do some more digging. And what about you? Are you an Xperia Play fan? Are you using it? Is it worth owning? Or is it just another useless piece of Sony's unfortunate history? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you've enjoyed this video and you wanna see more Xperia Play content, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I would like to thank you all for watching. Thanks to members and Patreons for support, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.